information that's being released in the Decker girls, Decker sister, Travis Decker case that is going on. This is the case of the three beautiful girls that were found unalived after custody, a visitation with their father. Their father that, for all intents and purposes, has been showing let's see if that one works a little bit better. Now I'm right in their face. Sorry guys, give me just a second. I guess that's what it's going to have to be. We'll just move this out. Let me see if I can turn this around just ever so slightly. Will that work? I don't know if that's going to work or not. I don't like that over there. Let's do this way. Oh well, this is about as good as it's going to get. There we have it. All right. So we do have an update in this case. This is the first time Whitney, the mother, has spoken out since this tragic news. I can't imagine. I just can't imagine. She is absolutely gripped with grief. You know, her whole family, she had this beautiful family. Let me just paint the picture of where this case is, okay? They had an idyllic life. They worked hard. Now, granted, they had some ups and downs like business owners do. It sounds like there was a store. She made clothes. Somehow or another, that store went under, probably put some financial stress on the family, but they worked through it. Mom went to school, she got an education, she's got bachelor's degrees and other things, and trying to provide a family for her, provide a home and money for the family. Her husband was military, so you got a great home, right? Military family. Husband served. The husband started exhibiting some mental illness, and he was diagnosed with, I believe it was PTSD and some dissociated personality, or a personality type of disorder, multiple personalities or something. I think it might be in this article. We'll read what we can on here, and the family was fracturing probably because of his mental illness, and so we're learning a little more about that mental illness by the story that Whitney is finally saying. And it sounds to me like she blames partly the military. She says that there's not enough services for people that are having mental illness issues. That this was completely preventable. So we're going to read through some of this story and some of the statements the mom has made. Again, this is the first time the mom has really spoken. This was released a little bit earlier this afternoon. And this is what it says. It says, the grief-stricken mother of three Washington girls were allegedly killed by their homeless fathers said their deaths could have been prevented if police had listened to her plea to issue an Amber Alert when they first went missing. Whitney Decker said she knew her daughters Paityn, Evelyn, and Olivia were in substantial danger when their father Travis did not return them home within the court-ordered deadline following his visitation on Friday night. As soon as he didn't bring those girls back at 8 o'clock, she knew something was going on, her attorney said. I can't imagine. I'm sorry. This case really does bother me. Where's the rest of it? Why is it? Was I supposed to hit the button? Hold on. There it is. There should be enough concern from the police for them to say these children were missing and they're in substantial danger, even though he didn't issue the overt threat, her attorney says. The lawyer alleges that Wenatchee police had issued the Amber Alert, but the local officers told by the state police that the case didn't meet the requirements. So the state police was the hindrance in this particular case getting the Amber Alert, which it needed. Instead, the state patrol put out an endangered person, missing person advisory for the three girls, which, unlike the Amber Alert, does not send out cell phone alerts to the public. Because Travis was on a scheduled visit with the girl, State Patrol argued that there was not enough imminent legal presumption that the kids were kidnapped or in danger. However, they say that police failed to take into account his mental decline, as well as the PTSD and borderline personality disorder. We may never know if it could have meant the difference between life or death for those girls, but it could have made a huge difference, she said. Along with police's alleged failure to take the case seriously, Whitney believes her children could have been saved if Travis got the help he needed with his mental health spiraling. It was a tragedy that could have been completely avoided with proper funding of mental health services, her attorney says. Whitney ultimately believes that something broke inside Travis that caused him to do the unimaginable to his children. The 3 girls were found. This is going to be hard to hear, but many of you guys already know the details of this case. The victims were found with plastic bags over their heads and zip ties around their wrists. This is not something that we like to imagine. They were found in an embankment at the Rock Island campground about 18 miles west of the town of Leavenworth, Washington. Preliminary investigations indicate that his victims were asphyxiated. In the days leading up to the brutal unaliving, Travis was seen walking around Chelan County home appearing disoriented. Doorbell footage shows Travis strolling up to an unidentified home door, knocking on it before strangely sliding his hands up and down the surface, according to the video released. Authorities noted the video was before the girls had disappeared. Police remain on the hunt for Travis, an avid outdoorsman. I don't believe he's been seen on camera. I really don't believe he's been seen out there in the public. We got to look at this kind of in a lens, because I feel like this man is most likely expired somewhere. And I wouldn't blame him for. I know it's got to hurt the mother. She lost basically her whole family. Her whole family's been ripped apart from her because of mental illness. This has got to be one of the toughest pills to ever swallow. And for her to have the courage to speak up this soon after all this happened, to talk to the world and let them know, what happened, is very brave for her, because the whole world, if she never spoke to us, would completely understand. Our heart bleeds for this woman that we've never met. This story is so tragic, but it has a lot involved with it. And mental illness and the services for Veteran Affairs were some of the talking points we had on our show on the crime stories side today. She's got amazing strength. That's it. Thank you, Amy. Just a hard case to wrap your head around, that these 3 beautiful girls lost their life, but when you strip it all away, it sounds like he tried to seek help. It sounds like there were no services available for him, or the services were a joke that were provided to him. And that's sad, because it shows you that he attempted to get help. Where is the failure here? I really don't know. But the mom blames mental illness and the lack of services for mental illness. So at this point, she's not really, I'm sure they will eventually start blaming the court system, because it sounds like she pled with the court system to end these visitations until he got a more stable environment, and they should have. You have to protect these children. We never know what's going to happen. And mental illness, I try to tell people all the time, your brain controls everything. If your brain is sick and you don't know your brain is sick, it could be very detrimental to a lot of people. And it's completely out of that person's control. This man seems like he is not himself. It sounds like he's been dealing with some of this stuff for a long time, and they're already seeing him disoriented before he even got the kids. Even if he does make it to trial, what is it going to look like for him? Because there's so much here. Judge should be required parents taking parenting courses to have permanent housing, as well as supervised visits for estranged parents. Mental health plays a major role in many of these cases. It does. And look at the other case. We're dealing with Jack and Lily's case as well. And in Jack and Lily's case, the get back up here. The issue there is the parent. Where was I going with that? I just lost my train of thought, and I know it was going to go over there. The judge should require parents to take parenting classes and have permanent housing for a estranged parent. Mental health plays. Oh yeah, that's what it was. Mental health plays a major role, and it comes over to Lily and Jack's case because we just heard from Daniel talking about how he's concerned about Malaya's mental health and how that may affect their child that they have together, Meadow. So I feel like we're barely keeping up. Like, we have all this money going out for all these services, and it's like it's a right hand, left hand thing always. I just don't understand how we can't get a good system that works better. We're not making excuses. This is a real problem, yeah. But you know what? It's very strong, and that she is realizing this major problem. She identifies its mental health and its veteran mental health, and it's the lack of what our country is doing for our veterans when they have these mental health issues. I'm sorry, but from where I stand, I'm much a conservative. I don't like spending money, okay? But there are still things that I feel we are required to take care of. And one of those things, without a doubt, are our first responders and our military personnel. I'm sorry, they're here for us. They put their lives on the line to protect us. And I'm sorry, but that should put them a little, that those things should be protected, and we should make sure that they're as healthy as they can be, because there are a line of defense no matter how you look at it. Even the firefighters and the paramedics, who do you think is giving you chest compressions when you're dying? That's not a police officer. That's not usually a military person. That's an EMS. So I think that when it comes to the people that keep us safe, we as the community should be required to keep them healthy. That's the least that we can do. And this military thing has been a problem, and they're making strides to bring awareness to it. And I think part of that stride is letting people know how many military personnel unalive themselves on a daily basis. I think that's the first step, because that just shows you that they're not doing enough. If they were going over and fighting for us, we expect them to have mental scars. Some of the stuff that they have to witness and do and see, they do so we don't have to, right? So they protect us from having to do it or witness it. But they see some ugly stuff over there, and it really messes with people's brains. And you've got to understand that a lot of this mental illness doesn't rear its ugly head until your late 20s, sometimes 30s. So you've got military personnel going into the military at 18 years old, not realizing that they have a mental health problem, and those mental health problems won't even start showing signs until you've already been in the service for 10 years. And then you take some traumatic experiences and throw it on top of that, and there you have a really messed up individual coming out of our military. And those people need help, and they need services, and they need good services that actually help and benefit more people than it hurts. And sometimes I feel like, some of the stuff that they tell us we need to do for ourselves helps us or hurts us more than it helps us. And we need things that help more than it hurts. And with all these mental health issues, I don't see why the courts would allow time. Exactly, Diane. And again, that's my point. This is a system. Like, I understand her point, but she had to divorce a man that she loved because of mental illness. This woman looked like she loved her husband. She was happy with her life. She adored her children. And she had to make some really tough decisions to protect her children because her husband was suffering. With her statement today, it doesn't sound like she she didn't love her husband. It doesn't sound like she really wanted to divorce her husband. She just had no other choice. That's the way I read this. You know? That breaks my heart. That really breaks my heart. So, anyways, bite on that and on that. I didn't want to take too much of your time. I don't know who's live going about this. I just read this. I decided we needed to go live about this. The mom speaks out, and I was shocked. I didn't even look for a statement from mom. I figured mom needed time to heal. But you know what? Mom's waking up. She's probably not even sleeping right now. And she probably just wants to fix this so no other person ever has to deal with what she has to deal with. And that is going to be her life's mission. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. And it's sad that she had to find purpose in so much pain. So, anyways, thanks guys for being here. And I will keep you guys posted. I was going to go live on TikTok. And I'm like, no, this is a live that we need to go live with on YouTube. So, oh, hey, Lady Freedom. It's nice to see you. These are very important subjects to discuss. Amen to that. Amen to that. So, rock it out with your coffee beans out. Her statements are, I was hoping to get, I'm glad, well, I wish she would have gotten a video, but I understand why it's in print. And I hope one day, she can share the pain with the world, because she's got a lot of pain, and I'm sure she needs to get some of that off of her chest. I'm sure she's going to want to talk about her children, as hard as it's going to be, because that's all she has left is her memories. And it's just unfair. It just truly is unfair. Anyways, thanks guys for listening.